If you've ever mounted shelves, you know that this can be a tricky situation. It either ends up misaligned or on the floor after 5 minutes. I've got a simple DIY with very simple materials that won't drive you up the wall. What you'll need for this project is rope, metal ferrules, mounting brackets, copper end caps, a crimping pliers, copper piping, some wood, a sander, a drill with a Forstner bit, chalk paint, wax, and a brush and roller set. So we're making a 3-tiered hanging shelf. Now what I'm using for that is some pine timber that you can see over here. I've cut the dimensions according to the space that I'm going to be placing it in. I've used 700 millimeters for my longest piece, for my middle board 500 millimeters, and the smallest shelf 300 millimeters. Our first step is to measure out 25 millimeters from each corner so that we can drill a hole where our rope will be going through. I'm going to be using a Forstner bit, and why is because it gives a nice clean cut versus a paddle bit or just a simple drill bit. This is a 16 millimeter Forstner bit, and it ensures that our rope goes through smoothly and it threads through easily enough. Now that all the holes are drilled for each of our shelves, I'm going to focus on our mounting rod. And as you can see, I've got a copper pipe over here. Now I need to consider the length of our biggest shelf, which is the bottom shelf, and that's 700 millimeters. But I've also got to consider that I'll have an end cap and a mounting bracket on there as well. So add an extra 30 millimeters on each side to your measurement. So for a total of 760 millimeters. Now I'm going to be using a pipe cutter, as you can see over here. Now this is quite a neat little gadget. It's got a cutting wheel on the top, and then it's got 2 rollers to allow your pipe to roll as you're cutting. Now in order to cut the pipe, place where you've marked out the desired length and just tighten up until it's secure. Don't over tighten, otherwise you'll puncture the actual pipe. And then give it a few twists and turn, a few twists and turn until it actually cuts through the pipe. There we go.
Giving the wooden shelves an overall sanding will smooth down any imperfections in preparation for the painting. Depending on the quality of your wood, start with a medium grit sandpaper and finish off with a finer grit. Using a rolled up piece of sandpaper, take care of smoothing the holes. Chalk paint is all the rage at the moment, and for a good reason. Available in a range of standard colors, it boasts a rich matte finish, which gains depth with the introduction of a wax. Make use of a paintbrush and sponge roller to give 1 or 2 coats of your desired color, as well as your desired finish.
Whilst the paint dries on our shelves, we can start mounting our rod. So I'm just going to loosely fit our rod over here, and you can see the ends are not glued into place as yet, but this just gives me an idea of where I want to mount it. I'm going to mark equal distance from the ground up or from the ceiling down, just to ensure that our rod is parallel, and then I'm going to mark out from one bracket to the next, just to ensure that I've got the right spacing.
Once you have measured where the rod will sit on the wall, measure the distance between the clamps and transfer those measurements to the wall. When drilling into any surface, it is always important to make use of the correct type of drill bit. For drilling into this wall, Ryan is using a masonry drill bit. Wall plugs help to secure the screws into the wall. Now that the clamps are correctly spaced, secure the end caps to the copper pipe using some clear adhesive. To give the painted shelves an aged effect, Ryan uses dark wax and applies it using a cloth. Rubbing the soft wax onto the flat matte painted surface brings depth to the paint and adds character. A light sand here and there adds the finishing touch.
Now with our shelves painted, they're looking amazing. We've applied the wax, and it's given this aged effect that we wanted. I've left the middle one without any wax, so it looks quite nice with the contrast. And now we're going to actually apply our rope. And as you can see, I'm lining them up because we're going to have a 3-tiered effect. Now on this side, I'm going to put one big loop through, and on these ends here, I'm going to have individual loops, and then we're going to tie them with the ferrules by simply placing it together like this and using our crimping pliers. Now that each of our shelves are up and have their individual ropes holding them in place, I'm going to thread the long piece of rope to secure them in one straight line. Now ensure that you loop it over your rod over here on the top, and then ensure that you put a knot below each shelf just to secure it in place and hold the weight. Now with all our shelves well aligned, I can now secure our rod on the top and decorate it as I see fit. And there you have it. With a bit of wood, some rope and copper piping, we've created our own shelves, one that won't be on the floor in 5 minutes. So go wild with different colors and different paints that match your decor scheme.